Welcome back to the Leverage Advantage show, where we interview some of the most prominent entrepreneurs to extract the secrets of how they do what they do. Today, we're honored and grateful to have Ramon Ray with us. Now, Ramon's a four-time entrepreneur, best-selling author, global speaker, and events producer. He's the editor and founder of the Smart Hustle magazine, and his third book, Facebook Guide to Small Business Marketing, is an Amazon.com bestseller. He's been invited as an expert witness to Congress, invited by the Office of the President of the United States to speak at the White House, and has produced many events, including the Smart Hustle Small Business Conference, Small Business Summit, Small Business Technology Tour, Small Biz Big Things, and more. Now, amazingly, Ramon has shared the stage with Seth Godin, Damon John, Guy Kawasaki, Simon Sinek, who I absolutely love, Gary Vaynerchuk, and other celebrity entrepreneurs. He's interviewed President Obama in the president's first live Google Hangout and interviewed many of the sharks on Shark Tank. Ramon, thank you so much for being with us.
It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm excited. Listen, man, thank you for what you're doing and sharing knowledge. And I think anytime I can and share what I've done, I've learned from so many. So when I can share and help others, it excites me, and I'm happy to be here. Thanks.
Awesome. I've shared a little bit about the highlights about what you do. Maybe you can share a little bit more about what you do, what your background is.
Sure. So what I do, and I guess the easier way is how to make my money. We all do a lot of things, but in essence, my business is all about two sides. I educate entrepreneurs and small business owners through a variety of ways. All of us are using social media. You have many Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and et cetera. But at smarthustle.com, I have a nice relationship with small business trends and small biz technology. We educate business owners. So we do podcasts as well. We do quite a bit of video, do interviews. I share my own knowledge. So, you build a tribe, a fan base of people who like what you're saying. It's similar to many of the celebrity, as it were, entrepreneurs that you mentioned earlier. And then there are larger companies, big brands and small brands, who want to reach their audience. So I work with them. Some people may call it influencer marketing, as some of the things I do to really, hey, listen, I like brand X. Why don't you try it too? Or do a campaign to do giveaways, things like that. So that's kind of one way I monetize what I do for Zillow. And I'm also a speaker, so I speak around the world, as you may know, about entrepreneurship and small business, whether it's in person or just yesterday I was doing a Facebook Live with a group of lady entrepreneurs in Hungary. And 2 weeks ago, I was in Hyderabad, India. So that's in essence what I do and my passion, what gets me going.
Awesome. Now, here's what I love about what you said. Now, you talked about building a tribe, and a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs would have heard that, one of the most effective ways to market is to build a tribe, and that gives you a lot of stability. Because when you have a tribe of people that love you, that trust you, that promote you, then business becomes very easy. But, it's a concept that's easily communicated but not easily done. What were your biggest challenges in building a tribe, and how did you overcome them?
That's a great question. And I must say, this word building a tribe and a fan base is kind of mine, but I stole it or got it, as most of us have done, from Seth Godin. He's been doing this for, 30 years or 20 years. I don't know however long he's been publishing and all this. So that's kind of where I was able to define what I'm doing. I've been doing it for years, but I didn't really know what to call it until kind of reading more what he's doing and others like this. But I think that the biggest challenge in doing it is really starting. Just yesterday, and I'm going to tell my wife a little bit here, okay? So keep this between you and I, okay? So it's a secret. I'm teasing. But she did a video. She helped me shoot a video with my phone. And she said, Ramon, didn't come out quite so well. And she was right. It probably wasn't, the best. But I figured, Fazil, it was good enough. It was good enough for what I was trying to do at the moment, and I published it. So I guess the biggest challenge for me and for others listening, if I can help anyone, is don't wait for perfect. Now, you don't want to do things busted. You have a nice shirt on today and a jacket. I put on a shirt for this interview. So you want to do things at some level of professionalism and quality. But man, if you wait until it's just right and always kick yourself, you're never going to start. Again, you'll hear me mention Seth Godin's name a few times, his book, What to Do When It's Your Turn. And it's always your turn. It's all about launching, starting, doing, and not be afraid of the criticism and critique, because then it will never happen.
Absolutely, man. I couldn't agree with you more. You know, one of the things that that I've heard recently that I really resonate with is version one is better than version none, right? And it's better to
Absolutely.
get it done than you don't get it done at all. I think there's just so many people that are waiting for perfect that just don't go into execution mode. And I think so many people just quit at zero point 0.7, version 0.7, 0.8, and don't get to version 1. And once you launch, once you get it out there, it's fine. Even if version 1 is crappy, you can go to version 1.1 or 1.2. So I absolutely resonate with you there, man. Like, and tell the audience a little bit about what you're doing now and who do you help.
Sure. So one persons who I don't help directly are small business owners directly. So I want all of you to, definitely check me out. Definitely thank you for watching this podcast and interview. We appreciate it. But I'm not someone who can help you directly. I don't do consulting. Well, not too much consulting. So that's what I don't do. However, I help people really by being a thought leader, as it were, by helping people, again, through my Twitter handle / @Ramon Ray, through my Facebook page, Smart Hustle Magazine or Small Biz Technology. Those are my two primary, or smarthustle.com. That's where really I share my best knowledge. And the biggest thing I give to people, Fazil, is interviews. I interview a lot of entrepreneurs about how they're doing their hustle, as you're doing. I do this as well, sharing stories about people. And that's the biggest takeaway I think business owners and entrepreneurs can have. Those who are listening, Ramon, you know what? We want to launch. We want to start. We want to build our brand. We want to get tribal leaders. I talk about this. There's books you can read about it. So that's the biggest gift I can give to you. It's free. Is, you know what? Every day, sometimes several times a day on my platforms, I'm sharing little nuggets and insights, and especially smarthustle.com, the interviews. I'm interviewing other entrepreneurs about their challenges, their hustle, their growth patterns. Pardon me. That's the biggest gift and giveaway that I can give to someone.
Excellent. And what was that turning point for you? Like, I mean, when did you realize, or when did you decide that you wanted to go into business? Because I think it always starts with a decision. And when you've made that decision, there's no turning back. For a lot of people, I think one of the biggest reasons they fail is because they haven't made that decision that is what they want, that is what they're going to go for. What was that epiphany or that turning point for you?
Great question. I would think three things it was, as I can think off the top of my head. I think, and I'll probably go backwards. One is just the overall evolution of the journey of business. Sometimes there's not one thing, but you have different nuggets, different feathers in your cap, as it were, that take you to the next stage. So me being invited to the White House by, at the time, President Obama, not by him personally, by his staff, by the executive office of the president, that was a major feat. Me being invited to speak to Congress. These journeys have been big stepping stones. So that's one, going from most recent to oldest. So that was the third thing I can say. Second thing I can say is me producing my first annual small business conference with a couple hundred people in 2006. Now, for some people listen, they produce events all the time, but I bet most people don't do events with hundreds of people. That's a big feat for most of us. I'm not talking about, some Grammy Awards or big event that you see on TV. I had to take my credit card, give it to the hotel, $20,000, me and my partner, Marion Banker at the time. And we did our first event in New York, which at the time was big. And so that was another jumping stone, just to decide we're going to do an event. Probably no one's going to come. We're probably not going to get sponsors, and we're going to fail doing it. Let's do it. So that was number two. And by the way, it was successful. And I'll be doing my 13th annual Smart Hustle Small Business Conference in November 2018. I just finished the 12th annual one this past November. So I'll be doing the 13th one in New York City, November 2018. And most likely Seth Godin will be coming and speaking again. And the first epiphany or jumping point was when I got fired from the United Nations. And I say fired from the United Nations, it was all in a good way. My contract wasn't renewed. My boss loved doing all that, to do some administrative things. Part of it, me having my hustle, my business, I was let go. And again, all in a good way and things like this. But the point being is that probably was what forced me, because then I had no steady income. I couldn't be a fake entrepreneur anymore. And I say that gently. It's okay to have a side hustle. But fake entrepreneur, having a full-time job, a steady check, and having a business. But now I had to be on my own full-time, as I am right now, because many entrepreneurs are not. Maybe they have a spouse who's making money I don't. Maybe they have a side income or 401k. That's not me. So I'm a full-time independent business owner, entrepreneur, and that only happened because I had to leave the United Nations.
Awesome. Those are some amazing turning points. I think especially going out there, not having a safety net, it takes a lot of courage. For me.
Or stupidity.
Bravery and stupidity.
I don't know if it's courage or stupidity, like Captain Sully, the guy who landed the United or Delta plane in the Hudson.
Yep.
I don't know. Was he a hero or did he just not want to die? I don't know.
That's awesome, man. I mean, like, I love it because, I mean, for me, it's a little bit different. I've never had to quit a job. I've always been an entrepreneur. Like, I decided very young that I wanted to be in charge of my own destiny. And I felt that being an employee was putting my life in somebody else's hand. And I wasn't comfortable with that. So I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. But I also know that there are a lot of people that, especially in Singapore. Now, Singapore is one of the most expensive places in the world to live in, right? And for somebody to quit their job and to become an entrepreneur, it's probably one of the scariest things you can imagine. Especially if they've got a family, if they've got wife and kids to look after, and and to showcase a story of somebody who decided to take that leap and made that decision in their head that they were going to be successful in taking that action, I think is very inspiring for the people to hear. What's one big tip or advice for the audience, you think, when it comes to creating leverage in their business? I know you talk a lot about hustle, and we're big proponents of that. We're all about that Gary Vee lifestyle. Working hard, making sure you have your destiny in your own hands. But we're also all about leverage. It's not about motion. It's about action and how much results you can get from the action that you're putting in. So what's one big tip or advice for listeners when it comes to creating leverage in their business?
Yeah, I'll give two or three things. And I'm not sure if I'm, answering the question exactly directly, but two or three lessons that I've learned. And some of it just recently, I'm learning it, meaning we all know it, but I'm just practicing it only the last day or two or three. So I think one is knowing your value and worth. I'm increasingly more and more and more asked to speak more and more and more. 5 years ago, I would do a lot more speaking for free. And that's not a bad thing. That's how you start. But I'm learning as you get more and more people pulling at you, if 10 people want you to speak in one day, you can command a higher rate. And out of those 10 people, one of them is going to see value in you to take that rate. The others are going to you can refer to other people, whatever. So I think one is understanding your value, and you will find your profitability increasing. Life is not all about money. It's not, meaning there's more to life than money. You want to live a good life and be happy. But part of being in business is money. We couldn't buy the shirts we have and do what we do. We couldn't be on this call without money. So that's one. Understanding your value. I think point two, genuinely enjoying people and having good relationships. This interview we're doing right now, you reached out to me. We're connected. We haven't known each other for that long, but it's all about, here's another guy, I say it respectively to you, another guy, I'm another guy, another dude, and we're making connections. You're Singapore, I'm New Jersey, New York based. That's a beautiful thing. So connecting like that, letting serendipity happen, maybe you'll be in New York, maybe I'll be in Singapore, who knows? And then also, besides what we're doing today, building relationships. Maybe you had a client who paid you to do X, whatever that thing they was. Be in touch with them. But generally, sure, it's a business relationship, but just be nice. So I think those are the two things I can think of. And the third, I would say, always seek ways to, in a good way, leverage opportunities. I'm always a person who's trying to triangulate and connect dots. That's really, and again, as you're triangulating, connecting dots, maybe 80% of the time, nothing directly happens, even though that can go in the bucket of just a relationship. But nothing big happens. But all you need is 20% of the time for something big to happen, I would think, to live quite well. You may say that better than me, that last point. Maybe it's not clear, but I know what I'm trying to say. For some reason, my brain's telling me it didn't come out quite clear, but let's see what you think.
No, I absolutely agree with you. Actually, when I was very young, when I was 16, my father shared something with me that he had learned from the former Prime Minister in Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew, and that was that one of the biggest assets you can ever have is your network. And that was something that stuck with me for a very long time. And it's not that we go out and we treat people differently. It's not that we go out and we become nice to people because we expect something in return. I think that has to be part of your nature. That has to be who you are. You have to go, if you go out, you're genuinely interested in people, you make connections, and you're generally interested in helping them, then I think that makes you memorable. That makes you a valuable part of their network. It's not just about having them in your network, and because it's always a give and take relationship. You can't always be taking. And so what you mentioned what really struck me about what you mentioned is that a lot of people don't really understand how their network is actually an asset, which they may not be able to harvest on demand, but there may be an opportunity sometime in the future where they would be able to. And unless they're watering these plants or their garden, which is their network, constantly, then they wouldn't be able to harvest anything. So I really love what you said there about your network and that in how that corresponds with leverage. Here's a question.
Yeah. And now we both have expanded our network, right?
Yeah,
you have a brother, as it were, New York, New Jersey. I have one in Singapore. I mean, we just expanded our world. You know people I don't know, and vice versa. Man, that's powerful.
It is. And I love it. And that's the thing as well. People like you and myself, we're what we call networks of networks. So sometimes you go on, you meet people, and they're great on their own. They're happy. They're happy to help you. And maybe they're not always thinking about who in their network will be able to add value to you. But I think the way that you and I work is that every time I meet you or I meet somebody new and they're sharing with me what their challenges are, I'm always thinking, who do I know that can help you with what you do? Even if it doesn't mean I'm going to profit from it, I'm happy to make that introduction because that's just who we are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Here's a question for you, Ramon. If you could travel back in time 10 years and tell your old self one thing, what would it be?
Probably, for me personally, be more financially astute and literate, and don't take so many crazy risks. I've lost quite a bit of money over the years, 10,000 here, 50,000 here, 30,000 here. For me, that's a lot. I'm not talking about millions, some celebrity person, but all that adding up was quite a bit of money doing just stupid stuff. Now, I must make a caveat. Stupid stuff juxtaposed to you still have to launch and test. There's a balance there. But my point is, if I could tell myself 10 years ago, it would say experiment, but maybe experiment a little smaller. Experiment and shut down things faster. Test a bit more. Spend $1,000 and test it, as opposed to $20,000. Because I'm an all-in person. I'm not a slow person. I'm all in. So that's probably what I tell myself, and I'm happy how I am today. I live a quite good life. I have a great family. I'm blessed that God has blessed me with all kind of things and all that. But it's just, hey, maybe I'd be double what I have today. Maybe, I'd be able to give and help other people more. That's really my end goal. I want to have more wealth to help others. And I really mean that. I feel like crying as I say this. I live a very simple life. I have a simple car, a simple house here. My family, my wife, I'm happy that she's a very simple person, but we love to give away and help others. So many can't do what you and I do. So many maybe are not well-spoken, are not entrepreneurs. They're working a traditional 9-to-5 job. They have a lot of debt. How can I help other people? And I really mean that's what I want to do. So hence, my wealth that I want is tied to how much can I give away.
That's awesome. I think there's also so much to talk about there. Here's one of the things that I've learned. And in the course of my business, I've met so many people, and some of them are financially driven. So once they've hit their financial goals, they're chill. They're like, you know what? I've got enough for myself. I live a comfortable life. I can live the rest of my life chilled out, and and I'd be happy, and that's great for them. But then I've also met some very mission-driven people where they've already made so much money, and they don't have to work another day in their life, but they're working harder than anybody else because for them, one of the people that I've met, he's a legend in network marketing, and one of the things he said is, I wish I live a long life and I'll be working hard all my life, because when I want to make a lot of money and I want to give it all away. And that's somebody that really inspires me. And actually, there's something else that you said. I think that's really important that the people that the audience really takes note of. Business is a series of micro tests, and a lot of people don't realize. You know, when I ask people what's the opposite of success, a lot of people tell me the opposite of success is failure. Well, to me, the opposite of success is not failure. Failure is a stepping stone to finding your success, and the opposite of success is quitting. But if you don't learn how to fail, you know, when you learn martial arts, let's say when you learn judo, the first thing they teach you is they're not teaching you how to throw, how to kick, or how to punch. They're teaching you how to take a hit. They're teaching you how to fall. Because if you learn how to fall in a way where you can get back up, if you learn how to fail where, you know, failure is not fatal, it allows you to get back up and make that next attempt. It allows you to use that failure as a learning experience. That's how you're going to get success faster. I think there's so many people that they want to play a big game, but they don't start small. They don't, you know, like, have you ever watched Mythbusters?
Yeah.
I love Mythbusters. Sure. And every time before they do a huge experiment, they always do a small scale experiment to see whether it works. Because if you make a small scale experiment and it fails, you'll make a mess in your lab. If you make a big scale experiment and it fails, it's a huge explosion.
Correct. Absolutely. And it's funny you said that about, connectivity. I think some people want to go so far ahead and so fast, they fail to just slow down a little bit and then take it step by step. You know, you can't take 10 steps. You got to take one step first.
Absolutely. Hey, Ramon, now, what does ultimate leverage look like to you?
I think ultimate leverage is when you reach a peak. And I must say I'm blessed in my fan base to have a little taste of this. When you reach a peak in your leverage experience, as it were, as we're making this kind of term up here, their leverage experience, where your fan base is voting for you, referring to you, calling you, where you have inbound coming. I think if I had to pick 100 business owners, many are struggling, scratching to get the next client, get the next client. But if you're maximizing your leverage, you're fine-tuning your leverage, you're finding that I've already delighted, as an example, let's say this is a person, I don't know, I delighted this person. The first time I had to maybe get them in. But now they're coming back to me, asking me again and again. The costs are lower. Now they're referring other people to me. Now they're telling other people, go talk to Ramon. So the point being, that I think is the ultimate leverage in business. When you're first starting out, you have to claw, let's say, to get the first 100 customers. But as your leverage is peaked, man, I'm not saying you have to take it easy, but you can always do other things, as you mentioned, making more money to give away, whatever it is, but you can do other things because the 100 people, it's now seeds you've planted. Each one of those people is telling 10 other people. And that is a beautiful place to be in business. Not have to claw and just hustle. You can do the smart hustle and blend it together. It's a beautiful business.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I think a lot of, especially if you're a young entrepreneur, if you are a new entrepreneur, that what Ramon just said is gold. I think a lot of people don't realize how valuable it is to have raving fans, to have people out there who are evangelizing for you, people out there who are saying how great you are. And this is something that we've actually come to realize in my business. Now, in my business, prior to this, we used to run events. We used to train people, show them how to blow up online, but we taught them how to do it. Now we knew our content works. Our content's great because we do it and we get the results. But a lot of them, they come for the training and they don't do it. They don't get the results. So out of 100 people, maybe 20 people actually take action, right? And of those 20 people that take action, maybe only half of them get the result because they've decided that that's what they're gonna make it work. And so maybe only 10% of the people are getting the kind of results that we say you can get in the training. And so what we decided to do was that, and normally this 10% of people are the ones that engage us for like coaching or for done for you, right? So then we realized the people that we're going to be able to give the best or the most value to are the people who just want us to do it for them. And that's why we shifted our business a little bit. So now we do primarily, it's all done for you. It's all consulting, and most of our clients will get that result. Because this way, all our efforts are multiplied, because all these people, they engage us, they get the result, and they're going to tell everybody else, hey, I met this company, the Leverage Group, and they did a fantastic job for me. If you guys need online marketing done, you guys got to go talk to them. So I love what you said. That is leverage.
That's a beautiful place to be. Beautiful place to be.
It is, and it's so much more peaceful and calm to have a stream of inbound leads, because the hustle is hard. Going out finding customers, that's hard. And if you're going to be in that place all the time, business can be a lot easier. You can be a lot more leveraged.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we've come to that part of the interview where I ask you really 3 quick fire questions. You ready, man?
Okay. Let's see if I can answer.
I think you can. So, Ramon, what's the best advice you've ever received?
Probably the best advice, which I rejected and hate to hear it, is slow down. I talk fast. I move fast. I do stuff still fast. So I think just to slow down. That's my advice for me, for Ramon Ray.
All right. And can you share one of your personal habits that you strongly believe contributes to your success?
Yeah, I think for me, and everybody's different. I respect all faiths and religion, but my faith is very, very important to me. I happen to be a Christian, so just my faith and knowing that life is beyond just me, I think that's important. My faith is important. I think, 2, I try to eat healthy. I have a bottle of water here. When I wake up in the morning, I exercise and work out in the evening. So I think faith, somebody may have a different faith or no faith, but I think too much we're self-centered. And I think it's important to understand we're just mortal humans. So I think it's 1. And as I said, 2, exercise. I do that on a regular basis and try to eat as healthy as I can. And the 3rd thing I must say is networking. We touched on it already, but that's a discipline I have. Usually when I sit in the airline seat, I turn, hi, my name is Ramon. Good morning. Now, they'll either ignore me, they'll respond back, hi, say their name and turn back around, which is the best thing, this is fine, or we get into a discussion of some sort. So those are 3 things I did.
Awesome, man. And what book would you recommend as a must read?
Wow, there are so, as you know, many amazing books. And I must say I'm biased, man. I'm biased. I'm a Seth Godin fan. You know that. So any book you can read about building your tribe, I'd highly recommend. And I must say, finances is important. So I would pick up Mike, and you may know him already, Mike Michalowicz's book, Profit First. It's not like a deep, dense financial book, but it'll give you a 101 insights and kind of slap you in the face on your finances. So Mike Michalowicz's book, Profit First, and then a number of books by Seth Godin about building tribes and marketing and branding and launching and just doing it is what I'd recommend.
That's really awesome, man. Like a lot of the entrepreneurs, like most of the successful entrepreneurs that I know, I think the one thing that sets them apart from everybody else, not just other entrepreneurs, but everybody else, is that they're always reading to improve themselves. Whether it's Seth Godin, whether it's Dan Kennedy, whether it's Simon Sinek, that is the one thing that people need to know, that your learning doesn't end when you get your degree or your MBA. I mean, it's constant, and that's how you get that edge.
Absolutely. It's so important. Learning, because you stop, that's where you start to decline.
Absolutely. This is our last question. Really. If you had 30 seconds left to live, what piece of advice would you give?
Life is a journey. You're going to have up and downs. Make the most of it. Be nice to people. Be kind to people. And remember that, there's a future ahead. So that's what I would give advice to people regarding business.
Thank you so much. Now, if people are interested in finding more about you, how can you be reached? Where should they go?
Yeah, I mean, 2 things. I'd love people to go to smarthustle.com, and just check out what we do. It's a whole ecosystem and platform for small business growth. And then RamonRay.com, that's my website. So check me out, and you can link to all my social networks from there and follow one of them. I don't talk about, hey, my cat or my dog. Once in a while, I may talk some personal stuff, but usually it's 24/7, all insight about business or life or careers, something like that. So it's very high level of low noise, but high, what's the other word? Noise to something ratio.
High content value.
Yeah, content value. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome, and hey, I really enjoyed spending the time with you, really getting that insight from you, and really being able to tap on your experience. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and your experience so that our audience can benefit. I'd love to chat with you, more some other time. Maybe you could do another show, but for now that's about it. Thank you so much. I'm really very grateful to have you. Thank you so much, Ramon.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Hey there, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, check out the relevant video here, and don't forget to subscribe to us for more marketing tips, techniques, strategies that are working for us, or just more behind the scenes fun. See ya!